Hi, this is Joby Provido, and you're listening to Contemplating the Rosary, where we talk about how to pray the Holy Rosary even better. In 104 episodes, over 4 seasons, we will explore a method of how to say the Rosary the way Pope St. John Paul II, Pope Paul VI, and other Rosary advocates recommend, and that's by contemplating the mysteries while we say the Our Father, Hail Mary, and Glory Be. This podcast is based on the book Beyond the Veil, Contemplating the Mysteries of the Holy Rosary, available at Lazada in the Philippines and in print or Kindle on Amazon, wherever you are. Visit kindlingspress.com for more information and where you can read and download the episode guide. This is episode 45 of the series, the 17th episode of season 2. It's nice to have you back here listening in on how we can pray the Rosary the contemplative way. Today, we'll explore the fourth sorrowful mystery, the carrying of the cross. This event, as you may have noticed in scriptures, has very little detail. We are told that Simon of Cyrene carried the cross of Christ, and John, the apostle, seems to correct this in the gospel he wrote after the other 3 gospels, and says that Christ carried the cross for himself also. Another source of how we can imagine the carrying of the cross is from one of the small T traditions we Catholics have, which is the Stations of the Cross. In that devotion, we follow Christ's footsteps from the moment the cross is placed on his shoulders all the way to his burial. In one of these stations, we find Jesus meeting his mother. And in this episode, let's try to imagine how this might happen. While the entire world slept that previous night, as Peter, James, and John kept falling asleep in Gethsemane, only Our Lady was awake that night. She watched and kept vigil. It is as if the book of Lamentations was speaking of her when it says, quote, "She wept in the night, there was none to comfort her among all those who were dear to her." End quote. The morning came and her son was first scourged unjustly, even if Pilate didn't find any crime. And then Pilate was bullied by the high priest and the vicious mob to sentence Jesus to death through crucifixion. With the sentence passed, the soldiers brought Jesus outside the city gates and strapped the cross on his shoulders. He must have been so weak because he suffered so much loss of blood. It caused our Lord to struggle underneath the heavy weight, sometimes falling flat on his face. What would a mother do if she knows her son is on his way to his death? Don't we go to the homes or hospital rooms of those who we know who are ill and dying? Even if we don't have the power to stop death or cure their diseases, we show our love, our care, our encouragement just by being there. We do this because the hearts of the sick people smile even if their faces are incapable of smiling. Of course, Mary would have wanted to do the same thing for her son, whom she dearly loves. So she, with the help of John, went to a place Jesus would surely see her. Mary and John positioned themselves in a curve on the path to Calvary. It would seem like a strategic place to be, since it's a place where those on it would be surely seen by the people ahead. As our Lord makes his way up, Our Lady sees her son coming toward her, and her heart breaks to see him in such extreme pain and humiliation. We have to imagine how broken-hearted Mary was. St. Bridget said Mary loved her son more than any other human loved someone else. This is because she cooperated with God's grace so that her heart would be kindled with 1,000 flames of love for her son. But we are always hurt by the ones who we love most. So when she sees her son in such a deplorable state, the 1,000 flames turn into 1,000 swords piercing her heart. Any mother would want to spare their child from suffering. What more of Mary, who loves her son perfectly? But she trusts God. Even if her son's body is broken, covered with blood and bruises, even if he doesn't look like God at all at this time, Mary trusts her son is God, who is suffering for all men and women in the past, present, and future. Finally, Jesus struggles uphill and sees his mother. Their eyes meet, and without any words, they know what each is saying to one another in their hearts. "I love you, my son," her eyes says. "I love you more, mommy," his eyes replies. She tries to reach for him, but a soldier uses his shield to prevent her from touching her son. A poignant painting by Pietro Lorenzetti imagines this scene where Mary is in tears and her son does nothing to help her. Christ's humanity would have wanted to be touched by his mother, and for sure it pained him to see her suffer this way, for her humanity and her motherhood wants to hold her son. But in his divine wisdom, our Lord had to see his mother in such sorrow to allow her an opportunity to join him and take part in this divine drama. For his mother was and had always been part of God's plan for salvation of the human race. Just as a man and woman were part of our fall from grace in Eden, Tertullian says it is just right that also a man and a woman is part of correcting this fall. In a way, our Lord had to break his mother's heart even more so that it can even still be made wider and bigger, so that in the immensity of his love, there might be room in her heart for all of us who are going to be her children. In this mystery, let's use some beads to remember the scene when mother and son meet, when their hearts break even more when they see one another, and accompany them as if we are friends, giving them moral support. Let's end here for today, and don't forget to like this episode, click the subscribe button and the notification bell icon so you'll be notified when the next episode drops. As always, this podcast is brought to you by thecatholictalks.com and kindlingspress.com, where you can read more articles on the Catholic faith and find more books on Catholicism. This has been Joby Provido. I'll say goodbye for now, and please join me again next time when we can learn to pray the Rosary better. Bye-bye.